Hooday! What's up? What's up, everybody? And welcome to the live stream. It is Monday, September 13th. It's my brother's birthday today. I texted him a happy birthday. I need to remember that. Hey, we're doing something new here. I did this last year a little bit on Facebook Live, but I hadn't really built up the YouTube channel then. So what I wanted to try to do is a new format. You may like it, you may hate it. It's okay. I'm going to do it anyway because at least whenever I can and I get a few minutes. And the format is called Who Day in Houses, where we're talking Cincinnati Bengals and we're talking real estate in the Cincinnati area market. Two of my passions, right? Here's the deal, guys. I played sports growing up. I love watching sports, but now I'm a dad with 5 kids. And so over the years, the time that I have and the ability I have to follow any sport has gone way down. But the one sport that I follow probably the most, I follow the Reds more casually than I used to, is the Bengals. And another big part of that is I can get the content easily. I can watch the game fairly easily as well. And it's not overwhelming. It's one time a week. But what I like to do is talk about it, talk about the game. And if you want to jump on here and talk about the game and talk about the Bengals, would love to have you. Or if you have any real estate questions that you want to ask, that's what this place is for. We've done some live videos in the past, giving you a bit of a market update on Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. I know a lot of you guys who watch this channel are not from Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky, and so I'm sure you don't care about the Cincinnati Bengals, but that's all right. I'm going to do it anyway. You know why? Because I love this team, and it gives me joy. Actually, it gives me a ton of heartache to be a Bengals fan, but it's something I follow, and so maybe you want to, if you're ever going to move here, maybe you can get to know a little bit what it's like to be a Bengals fan. So in this video, I've got a few minutes here today. I am going to give you a market update, what's happening. We're mid-September in the Cincinnati real estate market, and so I want to show you kind of what's happened in August, and we're feeling it into September as well, and it is quite different than what we've been seeing. And so is there a churn happening in the real estate marketplace? Very well could be. And I want to show you guys some of the stats that kind of play that out. So stay tuned for that. But first, let's talk about this game. All right. The Cincinnati Bengals, in their home opener, with Joe Burrow coming back from a knee injury, defeat the Minnesota Vikings 27-24 in overtime in thrilling game-winning fashion with a kick at the clock from their rookie kicker, Evan McPherson. I mean, what a game. What a week 1 game. And I've got a few things I want to talk about. And feel free to comment, and I will check that out if you have anything you want to say. But there are a few things that stood out to me about this game. And to be honest, I didn't get to watch this game live. I watched it on NFL Game Pass with some friends last night who came over. We're all dads. We're all busy. Sundays is kind of like a big work chore day around the house. So to be able to tell your wife, like, hey, I'm just going to stop working and helping with the kids for like 4 hours and drink beer is, I don't know. It's not doesn't go over all that well usually. And so, but the NFL Game Pass, you can watch games whenever you want. So I bought this thing. It's like $100 and you can watch the, notifications, and basically anyone who's watched the game for the entire day, which is very challenging if you're trying to not get spoiled by the score. So I had 3 friends over last night, 2 dads, one. And when we turned it on, though, what you can do is fast forward through the commercials, and we all saw that it was like 3 hours and well, I don't know if it was when we had the lead or not, but like a little bit into it, we're all like, this game must have gone to overtime, because it's 3 hours. Normally in NFL games, right around 3 hours, maybe like 3:10 or 15, something like that. And so we all knew it was going to go to overtime. We didn't know the outcome, but we knew they were going to blow their lead and those are playing good. They've got a lead, and they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. And so, like, we all had this, like, cloud of Bengal fan over us, lose or tie. And he was like, I hate ties. I was like, I know. But what would you? He's like, I'd rather lose, but we all hate ties. And it just felt like it was going that way. Pop over and talk about these metrics here in just a second. So if you don't care about Bengals, that's fine. You can. I hope that if you're an NFL fan, not a lot of people are anymore, and I get it. There's good reasons why you wouldn't want to be an NFL fan. But if you are, I hope you enjoyed your first Sunday back. Hope your team won. Hope you enjoyed watching a little bit of football with full stadiums again, which is kind of fun. Makes it a different experience. Or at least Cincinnati's a full stadium. I'm not sure what it is everywhere else. But, okay, let's get into this game. First thing off the bat I noticed was slow start for both teams. Mike Zimmer was in town. He's a former Bengals coach. He's really beloved here in Cincinnati because he was the defensive coordinator during some of their best seasons when they went to the playoffs back with Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis. And everyone just loves Zimmer. Everybody kind of wanted Mike Zimmer to take the job from Marvin Lewis, but that didn't happen. So he went on to the Vikings. So he's in town, and right off the bat, the Vikings false start. They get like 4 penalties on the first drive, which was crazy. Everything was a little bit sloppy to begin with. And when the Bengals got the ball, play calling was pretty conservative. Parent, like, kind of scared. He didn't want Joe to drop back. He didn't want to do too much. He was just kind of letting everybody get their feet wet. They did the stupid end arounds to try to get people's confidence up. But whatever. They did that. So everything was slow start. I don't think there was even a score in the first quarter. I would say this, though. What I did like early on in the game that I noticed was our defense looks different. And it's not like Minnesota's a great offense, but specifically our interior defensive line, which you're not to have Gino or Carlos out there, but Ogunjobi and DJ Reader in particular played great. Josh Tupou played great. Josh Tupou, for you Bengals fans who are in the nitty gritty, know that he was an opt out last year, but he plugged some holes in the run game. We had pressure up the middle, and then we had Hendrickson and Hubbard doing their things. And then B.J. Hill, who we got from a trade from the New York Giants for out here, had 2 sacks on the day. So that was awesome to see. Bengals defense looked good. Linebackers looked decent. They looked okay. And besides Eli Apple in the secondary, I mean, we know what Bates is. Cheeto played pretty good. And it would be really nice if Trey Waynes would ever play a game for the Bengals. We're 2 years into his stint with the Bengals, and he's yet to suit up and play a game. So it'd be nice to have him back. I think when he gets back, that defense could be top 15 defense. That's weird to say, but they could be. Okay, so slow start. Interior IDL looked good. Then we went down 7-0. Eli Apple looked really bad on multiple plays. It was like, why are we starting him? At least start. I don't know what Darius Phillips has done to make coaches so angry. But if Waynes doesn't play again next week, I would love to see Phillips jump Eli Apple in the depth chart and get the start. And then all of a sudden, it was down 7. I don't remember the scores. Oh, no, the first score was to T. Higgins. I think on that drive, Chase made his first catch. So Jamar Chase, the storyline around this guy, we all know, first-round draft picked 5 overall, teammate with Joe Burrow, expect big things. The whole idea was like you have a more explosive offense, you can cover up some of the holes of your bad offensive line. I mean, there was an argument either way. It was argued for months between him and Penei Sewell, right? And we went Chase, and I was pretty pumped because Chase, looks awesome. But then in the preseason, he, sucked, and he dropped everything. I think he had 4 passes to him in the preseason in games, and he dropped every single one of them. And so we're like, oh my gosh, did we draft John Ross again? Did we draft another bust? And then there's an out route. He makes a catch on 3rd down, big catch, and he's fired up. Fans are fired up. Chase makes his first catch. We go down. We score a touchdown, I think, to T. Higgins on that drive. We're looking good. The game plan's opening up a little bit. I think we get the ball back right before half. We get a few good plays. We're at midfield, and then this play, the bomb to Chase. He just toasts the corner off the line. I heard Burrow talk about it in a post game interview where he said he thought that corner in particular would get aggressive and that they were playing for the field goal, and so he thought that the corner would sit on the route a little bit, and that's exactly what happened. And Chase blows by him, and Burrow drops a dime, 50-yard touchdown pass, doing the gritty in the end zone. It was electric. I mean, that erased the entire preseason narrative, right? Everyone was scared about Chase, and then boom, drops a 50-yard bomb in there. That was fun. And he'll always be remembered. His first game, he went over 100 yards, which was a record for a rookie wide receiver for the Bengals. Shout out to Jay Morrison. The previous record, I think, was 81 yards by Jordan Shipley, if I got that right. And so Burrow to Chase. Chase sets a rookie record, scores a touchdown. I mean, he made some big third down plays in the game. So his confidence is soaring high, which is awesome. We were rolling, and then coming out in the third quarter, we got a third touchdown, which I think was a mix-in run. So we were up 21-7. We had 21 unanswered. We're looking really good. We get the ball back up 21-7. Defense is playing strong. And 4th and 1 on our own 30, Taylor decides to go for it. Mixon slips. I mean, at the time, I was like, that's a terrible play call. Like, why would you go for it? You've got all the momentum. And hear that podcast growling, Paul Dehner Jr., they ran a stat. I guess the probability of winning the game if they punted there was like 85%. And if they went for it, it was like 86%. So they actually went with the numbers to go for it there. Feels really weird when you've watched football all your life and you're trained not to go for it, like on your side of the 50, and you see coaches start to go for it on 4th down, which with the analytics, it makes sense. When you're under 1 yard, you're going to make that, I don't know, like 70% of the time probably, maybe even higher than that. And the probabilities show that it was really like only 1% difference in winning the game. Now the Bengals, I texted a friend this morning and said, the Bengals are amazing at taking an 85% win probability and shrinking that to 0, because that's basically what they did as they shot themselves in the foot the rest of the game. So they ended up punting on that one. No, they gave it over, and then they immediately gave up a touchdown on 4th and 4. So now Minnesota's right back in this thing. Let's see what happens. We end up getting another field goal. Evan McPherson, 53-yarder. I mean, he drilled like the top of the net on a 53-yarder. So that kid is really good. That kid has a very, very big leg. Bengals have not had a kicker like that ever. So that's kind of exciting. We have a kicker that can like make kicks over 50 and is nails when it comes down to the game-winning field goal. And so shout out to Evan McPherson. I showed my wife the highlights this morning because she doesn't watch the games. And it ended with Evan McPherson, our kicker, being carried off the field, which was hilarious. So we had a kicker carried off the field on the win. So, all right, for those of you who are watching right now, a couple of you are watching, I promise I'm going to get you some real estate stuff if you have any real estate questions. But this is me expressing that I'm a Bengals fan and just walking through the game because the Bengals won. We haven't had a lot of those in the last few years, and it feels really good. It feels really good to get a win. So we blow the lead, right? We what is it? It gets to 24. It's 24-21, I believe it is, and Minnesota's driving down, and they've got 0 timeouts, like a minute 50 left in the game. All we need is one play from the defense, one stop, just one anything, a sack. Like, they don't have any timeouts, clock's ticking, and they just give up chunk play, and you're like, oh my gosh, Bengals. Like, we've seen this story so many times the past few years. Their record in one-score games was like 3-13-1 or something crazy like that. And you're just conditioned as a Bengals fan right now to be like you just know they're going to lose it, and you just felt it. And so Minnesota kick their own 53-yard field goal at the gun to tie it and send it into overtime. Okay, so we get into overtime, and we are We punt. We don't have a good first possession. They get the ball. They just need one score to win. They're driving. They're on our like 35 or 40. I think 35. And it's like, we lost. We lost this game. Like, we totally blew it. And then there's a fumble. And Bates comes off the field with his hand in the air, and he's like, we got it. And the officials call Bengals ball on the field. Goes to replay. This to me was really interesting. And this is my hot take for the day. Hot take from your Cincinnati real estate agent talking about the Bengals that nobody's watching, but who cares? Hot take from your Cincinnati real estate agent. Goes to New York, right, on a review like that. And I turned to my friend and I said, okay, you've got two storylines here. You could, the NFL, of course, this is conspiracy theory, right? But conspiracy theory says, I asked the question, which storyline is more marketable here to the NFL? Which storyline sells more? Which storyline gives the dollars more money to good old Raj in the NFL? And is it Kirk Cousins, journeyman Kirk Cousins on the road, snags a victory from the Cincinnati Bengals, who everyone expects to lose anyway? Or is it Joe Burrow come back from excruciatingly bad knee injury in his first game, overtime win with over 100 yards to his best friend and best wide receiver, Jamar Chase, and a touchdown? Joe Burrow, the comeback kid, right? Which storyline do you think the NFL could promote a little bit better? Kirk Cousins or Joe Burrow, right? Comeback kid, Joe Burrow, in his first game back, winning in overtime. Come on. So that's just my little theory. That was my thought. But hey, referee comes out of the booth. The call on the field stands. Bengals ball, let's go. Bengals ball, let's go. So we're driving. Final drive. We're getting some plays, and now fourth down again. Fourth down and like this much. Like you can't even see between the padding of the stick and the ball. And we still don't have laser first downs in 2021 in the NFL. What's going on there? We need an old referee to get down and look at this much space. Okay, so it's fourth down. And not to toot my own horn, not to pat myself on the back, but I'm going to pat myself on the back because I looked at my friend. We missed on 4th and 1 before, and the defense like came all over the line, right? They stacked the line. And I said, play action right here, go deep. And he was like, no. I said, yeah, that's the right call. What did we see? Play action. CJ Uzama on a crossing pattern, gets behind the defense. It's like a 35-yard. And this was Joe Burrow's check. Joe Burrow checked to it. They had not run this play. They had not thrown this pass to CJ in a practice. They ran it once this week, and they said he threw it, or it was like he ran it on air, meaning there were no defenders. So, gutsy call. This is Joe Burrow. We have Joe Burrow. The Cincinnati Bengals have Joe Burrow, and he's back, and he got sacked 5 times, and he might die again this year. He might get just killed again. Please, God, don't let him lose his knee again. But we have Joe Burrow. He makes the play, and we're in field goal range. It's a chip shot, and the rookie nails it, and the Bengals win, and we are 1-0. Hoo-day, baby. Let's go. Let's go. So hoo-day. We are 1-0. We got the victory. Going to Chicago next week. Feels good. All right. Thanks for indulging me. Would love any Bengals fans to hop in here in future weeks. I'll try to get this scheduled so you guys can see it in your YouTube feed. Okay, Hoo-day and houses. So here's what I want to do really quickly here because I got to go to some appointments. I want to show you guys a few things that's going on in the market. And hopefully you can see this. Yeah, I think you can. So this is going 2 years back. This first chart, we are looking at what's going on here in Cincinnati. This is Hamilton, Claremont, Butler, and Warren counties. And this is the median price sold going back the last 2 years. And what you can see, going back to 2 years ago in August 2019, we're up 28% since then. So, excuse me, roughly 15% a year probably. Appreciation, we're up to 250,000 from 195 on the median sale price. But what I want you to look at a little closer, and this is the little switch in the market that I think you should be aware of if you're looking to buy or sell in Cincinnati right now, is if you can look. You can't see my mouse on here. I don't know how to figure that out on the streaming, but if you can look at the July 20 to August 20, right in the middle of the chart. And what you see there is the housing prices continue to go up just slightly. They go up from really starting in April, May, June, July, and they peak in August of 2020. Okay? But if you look at this year, it's something similar, but it actually starts in February. It actually starts in January. Prices go up in February, March, April, May, June. They go down in July. They go down in August. Just slightly. Not a huge dip, but a little dip. And it's a little bit different than last year. So where we were seeing prices continue to go up and never stop, it felt like, in the real estate calendar, they're starting to creep back down just a little bit. Hey, if you're watching this right now, feel free to drop a question in the chat. This is Who Day, and fast forward till this part. Okay, let's go to units that are for sale. Okay, going back the last 2 years again. So you can see back in August 2019, the amount of units that were for sale were 6,848. And since then, we've hit record lows. All the way until February of 21 was our lowest amount of inventory, and it's stayed low just because even with, more sellers usually put their homes up for sale in spring and summer, but you can see below that 21 is lower than 2020 and lower than 2019. I mean, it's down roughly 28% from the same month 2 years ago in August in terms of amount of inventory that is for sale. But I'm going to point you to this. Oh, it's reconnected. Okay. We're back. I'm not sure what happened there. So prices went, so back in had a disconnection, but I think we're back. But if you look at the amount of inventory here in 2021, we see from June to July it went up slightly, and from July to August it went up slightly. And what does that mean? When you have a little bit more inventory, then price goes down slightly, right? So we're starting to see just a little bit of shift here. Not a lot, but it is a switch from last year. Whereas last year, prices still went up in August. This year they went down. Prices went up from June to July last year. Prices went down from June to July this year. And I'll try to explain why I think that's happening here in just 1 minute. I'm going to show you one more chart here. And this is, again, giving us another clue of this story. Now, this chart is the days on market. And this one is actually a little bit more telling. You can see a little bit more of a shift here. So this is the average days on market for under contract properties going back 2 years. Again, this is in the Cincinnati area in Hamilton, Claremont, Butler, and side. And if you look, 2 years ago, the average days on market was 25. Right now, the average days on market is 13. Okay? But if you go back to August of June 2020, that number was looks like it was around 17. So it's down from there. But what you see again is from July of 2020 to August of 2020, right in the middle of this chart, you see average days on market goes down. What does that mean? It means supply is lower, prices were still going up. Now in 2021, you see the average days on market, we hit a record low. I mean, it was just bonkers. And I keep telling this to people. In May and June, that's when it was kind of the craziest. And July, really. That inventory was so low. All of it was under 10 days. And that's the average days on market, right? So even the clunkers that are out there, that have been out there 30, 60, 90, 120 days, those are all baked into this pie. So most homes, if they were priced right and in any kind of decent condition, were gone in 1, 2, 3 days. So the average was right around 10. But what you see from July of 2021 to August 2021 is a pretty big hop. It went from 10 days to 13 days. So 3 days bump. And that's different than last year in August. So what is happening? How do we read this? How do we translate all of this? Here are my thoughts. It's been a couple of years of red hot real estate market, and sellers, and there's kind of been no stopping the appreciation, right? And sellers keep going higher and higher on the prices. Well, we're kind of hit what feels like there's a couple things at play. We've kind of hit maybe a limit to that, at least for now. At least maybe it's a pause on it or a slight decrease, because buyers are kind of like, you know what, pump the brakes. Like, this same house I could have bought 2 years ago for $100,000 less or whatever it is, and buyers are like, they're hitting their max for what they can afford. They're hitting some buyer fatigue, which we've talked about in previous videos, where if you go out and you love a home, and you put in an offer and you lose out on it, that's hard. That's hard emotionally. Then you got to go through the whole process again. Maybe you put in another offer, you lose again. Now you're like, what the heck? And that makes you kind of just sit around and wait. You're like, well, let me just wait for something to sit out there to get through the weekend at least, maybe 3 days, maybe 4 days, maybe a week. And then maybe I can put in a reasonable offer on this. So there's buyer fatigue. There is buyer pickiness. It's also like where it's like you could buy a resale home, and that's going to be a little bit less cost per square foot, or you could buy a new construction home and get exactly what you want in the house. I just had some buyers who did this this last week. They were in from out of town. We went and we were in the kind of $5 to $650 price range. Basically, we were looking at those kind of houses. Actually, we started around $450, that kind of range. And they realized, yeah, I think we actually want to live in, closer in this 5 to 6 range. And we found some houses that were really nice and really close to what they wanted. We put in an offer on one that we did not get. It went for over asking than what we were willing to go for. And because they knew their numbers, and they knew that they could go build a house and get it exactly the way they wanted, pick out all the finishes the way they wanted. And now, yes, they have to wait several months for it to be built, but at the same time, they're like, if we're going to pay this much, we want to get the house the way we want it. And that makes total sense. So that's happening in the market. Buyer fatigue, buyer pickiness. The other thing that's happening this year that's a little different from last year is we're seeing a little bit more of the regular seasonality of the real estate calendar year. So once you hit August, July, August, especially August, kids are going back into school. You kind of through that rush of a lot of families who are maybe trying to move because of a school district or trying to get into a new place before the school year starts. And so you usually do see a dip in August, and then maybe it picks back up a little bit in September, October, November before hitting the holiday season. So last year we didn't have that as much because the school year was weird, right? Not everyone was in school. Everyone was home. And so while you were home, you could still shop for houses. You didn't have the same timeline as you normally do with school years starting, stopping, in terms of your time frame. So that's been a little bit more normal this year. So all that's happening, and all of that is now, where is it going to go from here? It's hard to say, but we have seen a little bit of a pullback. We have seen days on market go a little bit longer, and my guess is it's going to normalize a little bit, but overall it's going to keep trending up. Maybe not as fast as we saw the last 2 years, but I think overall it's going to keep trending up. I've said before to people who are looking to sell, and it's still a great time to sell. I mean, you've got that equity that's probably built up the last few years, but if you're going to sell, you need a good reason to sell. You need, either you're like, we need another bedroom. We want to upgrade from 3 to 4. We want to get into a different school district. We want land. Maybe you want to downsize. You don't want to have that much house to take care of. All those are perfectly legit and good reasons to sell, and they all make sense. If you're selling because you want to cash out and you're saying, well, I think it's going to crash and I'm just going to sit and rent for a little bit until it crashes and then buy low, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't put my money on that. It could happen. And everything could fall out. But We've talked about this on previous videos, but the way the overarching macroeconomics that are where we're at now in terms of housing compared to where we were in '08, because that's what everyone is thinking about it. It's going to crash like '08. It's very different since then, and the supply and demand numbers are very different, and the demand is still there and the supply is not. And so that was a very different thing than what we saw heading up into the financial crisis. So, all right, guys, that's going to about do it from this one. If anyone does have a question watching, let me know. Hopefully we can continue this series of Who Day and houses, unless you hate it. If you hate it, I guess give it a thumbs down and let me know. But I like it, and I am the content creator on this channel. So I like watching the Bengals, and I like talking about the Bengals. And like I said, you can fast forward. You don't have to watch. But when I can, hopefully I'll give you guys some more Who Day and houses videos this year as the Bengals make their run to the playoffs and to the Super Bowl. That's not going to happen. But we might make the playoffs. We might be competitive enough to make the playoffs. Offensive line is still pretty shaky. Still really shaky. Burrow got sacked 5 times. So probably not going to happen. But we're definitely better than last year. Okay, guys, have a wonderful day. Thanks for being part of the Team Sztanyo Clanyo. I got this one other thing. In the Vanyo, guys, the Team Sztanyo Vanyo, I spilled some gasoline in my van. Like I was filling up some tanks for my lawnmower, basically, and one of them spilled while I was driving. So all week I'm trying to get this gasoline smell out of my van. That's another story. Maybe we'll do that for another day. Until then, guys, have a great day. Have a great week. And Who Day, go Bengals. And this is Eric Sztanyo, the Manyo,